UNC football has a recent history of strong running back play, like the 2016 offense with Elijah Hood and TJ Logan. Sophomore Jordan Brown and freshman Michael Carter are working hard to
hand off right side, banging his way, 5-4.
Our goal is just to get better every day. Either you're getting better or getting worse. You don't stay the same, so we just aim to get better every day.
Both players are looking to find their niche on a young and developing offense. The rookie, Michael Carter, has found plenty of opportunity in the red zone, scoring 5 touchdowns in the opening 5 games, while Brown has been used more as an early down back, rushing for about 50.
Hand off to Jordan Brown, outside, first down and a much more. Spun around.
We're kind of the same build, same size. We both have quickness and agility, and it's like when one goes in for the others, it's pretty much, I think it's like the same guy going in.
But do they consider themselves a running attack by committee, or are they looking to outwork each other for the top roster spot?
It's not in my nature, and it's not in his nature to just, sit back and try to, just accept the role. We're always pushing each other. And at the end of the day, no matter what happens, we're better for it.
This allows both running backs to set goals for themselves as they try to contribute to improvement every week.
I want to be the best player I could possibly be, whether it's, just a great role player or, freshman All-American.
With these kind of expectations, it's going to be interesting to watch these two running backs as the season progresses. I'm Adrian Walker, reporting.
Freeman Jones, the redshirt junior kicker, finished off his 2017 campaign on a high note, hitting 5 of his last 6 attempts and knocking in his 2 career longs in the process. So, I decided to dust off my old cleats and give him a run for his money. So, you may know Freeman for his kicking skills on the field, but what you might not know is he has some skills off the field. Let's go check it out.
Let's do it.
That's right, the kicker turned barber, and it all started in high school.
3 of my buddies in high school, we would all just cut each other's hair. As kind of, at first it was like a joke, like see what kind of dumb stuff we could do and then cut it all off.
So call me trustworthy or stupid, but I subjected myself to a blind haircut, and just how did it turn out? Well, you might want to look.
This is the first goofy haircut like this I've ever done. So this is what we're going for. Okay. Right?
Yep.
Not perfect, but this is what we ended up with.
Sunglasses and a mustache. I guess when the haircut's free, you can't expect too much more out of it. In Chapel Hill, I'm Camden Newworth, reporting.
Welcome to the David Glenn Show, one of the largest regionally syndicated sports radio shows in the country.
Under the head coach of Clemson, which hosts Wake Forest at Death Valley on Saturday afternoon. Dabo Sweeney, welcome back to the David Glenn Show. How are you?
I'm good. How you doing?
Radio
great.
host David Glenn and producer Darren Vaught are a small 2-man operation that attracts listeners from more than 200 cities and towns across North Carolina, and they do it through pure authenticity.
I think the most important lesson that I've learned is to be yourself, be the best version of yourself, be authentic, but be passionate. Because if you're not a passionate person about whatever you're writing or speaking or producing, it's going to be really hard for anybody else to be passionate about what you're doing.
So what makes the David Glenn Show unique? Well, the crew hits the road and travels to a different college football game every weekend.
Big Tailgate Tour is about taking the David Glenn Show out into our communities. We spend about 3 hours prior to a game with games and giveaways and food and beverages and talking about football.
The Big Tailgate Tour is a great way for listeners to put a face to the voice that they hear every weekday.
Radio provides this very intimate medium where, they've never seen our faces, but our listeners feel like they know a lot about both me and DG. And this gives us a chance to interact with them in a face-to-face basis.
We celebrate the tailgating atmosphere and the camaraderie and the fellowship and the excitement about college sports leading up to those kickoffs.
David Glenn was even able to visit his alma mater for a game this season.
They haven't lost in Chapel Hill that vibrance, that culture, that community, that excitement.
UNC may have had a poor football season this year, but these tailgaters certainly aren't stopping, and the Big Tailgate Tour will return next season. In Chapel Hill, I'm Keaton Eberly reporting.
Jamie Cherry is the point guard of the women's basketball team. This means Cherry is already in a leadership role. But this year, head coach Sylvia Hatchell is leaning on her leadership for another reason.
Me as our only senior, so I'm putting a lot of, I don't want to say pressure, but more so responsibility.
This responsibility comes in the form of senior leadership, something Cherry does more by what she does than by what she says.
She doesn't talk a lot out there, but she'll say what needs to be said, but it's more of by her actions.
The team is young this season, as it has been the past 2 seasons. Junior guard Stephanie Watts says Cherry's leadership has been a big part of keeping those young players organized on the court.
It kind of sets up the team, makes sure everyone knows where they are, and being our only senior, she really just runs the team really well.
Cherry knows those young players are looking up to her, and running the team this year might mean she has to be more vocal.
I would say being a more vocal leader, I've definitely developed over my 4 years. Just taking more initiative.
That's a lot of pressure, but Cherry is just enjoying the ride.
I mean, it's definitely been a roller coaster. I mean, I've definitely had some highs and some lows, but overall it's been great. And I'm looking forward to going out with a bang.
Cherry should be used to going out with a bang. Fans know her for her cherry bombs. I'm Sarah Willie reporting.
Janelle Bailey is a freshman from Charlotte. The 6'4" center spent her summer winning a gold medal with the 3x3 USA team in China.
I think it was hard for me to adjust just because everybody else had been here, and just when we do workouts, like knowing the drills, and I was really confused, but I think my teammates helped me a lot. Now I feel good about it, learning now and trying to play the speed of college basketball.
Bailey hopes to make an immediate impact in the ACC this year.
This year I want to average a double-double, hopefully be freshman of the year in the ACC, and just be known as one of the better freshmen in the country.
The coaches expect her to play a huge role as the key inside presence for the Heels.
She loves contact. She loves to initiate contact. She doesn't mind taking contact. So I think just physical play inside, as well as getting rebounds for us, that was something that we needed to get better at.
Bailey has high expectations for the season.
I think we can go far. I think we can go deep in the tournament and win the ACC championship. I think we have a really good shot at it this year, and I think we need to play together, the team, keep the team chemistry together, and as long as we do that, I think we'll be fine.
With the addition of Bailey and 3 other freshmen, it could be a very good season for the Heels. I'm Destiny Walker, reporting.
UNC and Duke, one of the most heated rivalries in all of sports. Athletes put everything on the line to will their shade of blue to victory. But for 2 players, there's a special connection that extends beyond the rivalry: blood.
Up until high school, we were on every team together. It was fun. Our grandma was our first coach on our YMCA team.
UNC's Gab Major and Duke's Alyssa Chilano are cousins, both born and raised in Pennsylvania. They haven't always been on opposing teams. In fact, they were teammates for most of their lives, including high school. They attended Springford Area High School, located 30 minutes outside of Philadelphia, where both were named All-Americans their junior year. But playing together in college wasn't a necessity.
We didn't want to go to the same school but not go to the same school.
Yeah,
it was just kind of whatever.
It wasn't oh, I want to be with her, I don't want to be with her. It was just wherever she ends up, great. Wherever I end up, great.
Yeah.
Major and Chilano are captains of their teams, and on October 20th, they got to face off for the 9th time as enemies. On the field, it's all business, for the most part.
Sometimes we say hi.
Yeah, we say hi and stuff. Yeah. I pushed her once.
Yeah.
That was.
I mean, it gets competitive between our teams, but it's always fun and,
Yeah.
Heading into the game, Major held the advantage in the cousin rivalry with a record of 7-1 against Chilano. However, Chilano would get the upper hand on Major's senior night, scoring 2 goals off of corners to lead the Blue Devils to a thrilling 3-2 victory. Following the game, it was a quick hug for the cousins after what was perhaps their last game against each other. They could meet again in the championship game of the ACC tournament or the NCAA tournament, but for now, Major and Chilano will focus on leading their teams into the postseason for one last time. In Durham, I'm Elizabeth Singletary reporting.
Alyssa Dawson has made a huge splash at Carolina this season, but she has a bigger goal in mind.
I have some pretty lofty goals. I'm hoping to win ACCs, be All-American at NCAAs, which is top 8. And then I'm going to continue to train after I graduate. The most important thing is like my love for the sport. I think that's what really motivates me, is that I want to reach my potential and I want to be the best that I can do.
Dawson's goals don't stop there.
Made Olympic trials in 2016 and was really close to the Olympics, so I'm hopeful that as long as I stay healthy and continue training, I should make it in 2020. So I'll just be focusing on training for that.
Coach Abel Sanchez and her teammates think Dawson can get there.
I think she's one of the most talented kids. She's probably one of the most talented divers in the country, and I really think if she really sets her mind to it, I think she's capable of doing anything. The sky's the limit.
Alyssa's a really good role model for everyone. She's not only my teammate, but she's also one of my really close friends too. She can do anything she puts her mind to. I'd be rooting for her.
I've just been working hard alongside my teammates, and so it was super exciting to be Diver of the Week.
Watching her progress and grow as a person, as an athlete, means a lot, and to see her do very well. This is her senior year, and I think she's going to have a great senior year.
That great year could include an individual national championship if Dawson continues her steady improvement. In Chapel Hill, I'm Kaylee Padron reporting.
A coach, a teacher, a father figure. Ron Miller is coaching in his 51st season and has watched more than 1,000 of his fencers graduate. Miller first came to North Carolina as a PE instructor in 1967, when fencing was still a club sport.
I told the members of the club that we were going to become a varsity sport and that they had to act like varsity athletes. So everybody but 3 quit.
50 years later, Miller has earned 1,500 wins at Carolina, but he is retiring at the end of this season. Bruce Walker fenced for Miller from 1988 to 1992 and says Miller is a UNC legend.
Just like Roy Williams or Dean Smith, and I was here when Dean Smith was here, he's not only a coach, he's an institution. He is a part of Carolina and always will be.
Walker also says Miller was like a second father to him, and that's something Sydney Persing can relate to.
My grandmother's sick. He's the first person I called. And I said, Coach, I'm so upset. I don't know how to handle it. And he sat out here with me for an hour and a half the other day. Just talked to me about life and death and mourning and grief. And he's a deep dude, and he wants to do it, and he loves to do it.
Miller said retirement won't keep him from this team, and that he'll stop by whenever possible.
We'll still always, look to him for advice and, technique and all that. And I have no doubt that he'll still be around for as long as he's alive. He'll be here.
51 years, a lot of memories, and a lot of impact. In Chapel Hill, I'm Jonah Lossie, reporting.
From being collegiate stars to top MLB draft picks, J.B. Bukowskis and Zach Rice are familiar faces to the Tar Heel fans. J.B. remembers the growing pains he had to go through.
I had to take some time to really learn from some of the older guys like Benton, but after I kind of got a hold of that, the baseball stuff just kind of started coming along, just like always has.
And as things started to fall in place, scouts started to notice Bukowskis was a focal point for the Heels on the mound his junior season.
I started getting some talk about potentially being like a high pick, and I mean that's what you want to do for your whole life is play pro ball. So
even though Bukowskis' dreams did come true when the Astros drafted him in the first round, he returns in the offseason to UNC to finish another dream of his education.
It's always been really important for me. My parents, since I've been growing up, have always just put a big emphasis on that. 1 year left, and I wanted to make sure I came back and keep going at it, making sure I'm getting closer. It'll take a little while, but I'm definitely going to finish it.
And former teammate Zach Rice has familiar views about finishing his education as well.
The student part of it was always really important to me, even in the recruiting process. Sign with a team, and whatever you have left, they'll pay fully. Now I'm back, and I'm on a full scholarship provided by the Braves.
Both pro athletes are on track to complete their education from UNC in 2 years and plan on being moved up from the minors into the majors in the near future. I'm Natalie Hardin reporting.
Most Tar Heels have probably never heard of the Orange County Sportsplex, home of Carolina's club ice hockey team. It's small, it's half an hour away from UNC's campus, and it smells a bit like sweat. For players like Joe Baglio, though, it's home.
The Sportsplex is a pretty cool rink. You know, we practice there twice a week, and I've probably played at this point close to 45 games there. So it definitely feels like home.
Of course, a pretty cool rink isn't quite good enough for the greatest rivalry in college sports. Carolina's on-ice clash with Duke earlier this month took place at PNC Arena, one of the biggest venues in the National Hockey League. It was a 3-1 win for the Tar Heels that saw them bring home the second annual Frozen Cup. And just getting to play there was the result of hard work and organization by the team.
So I was president last year, and we formed a booster club. We were able to, you know, combine all that manpower, talk to the Canes, who of course want to see hockey in the area grow. When you're playing at the PNC Arena, like we've gotten to do 3 times now, like you're able to hear players' voices better. You're able to still hear the crowd noise, and it creates an atmosphere like no other.
The Heels will take PNC Arena ice again against NC State this Monday in front of an even bigger hometown crowd. Regardless of the result, it'll be another dream night for Baglio.
I'm 22 years old and, you know, really just living my dream, being able to pursue my passion. Like, there's no better feeling in the world.
Well, maybe not including a trophy win over your fiercest rivals. In Raleigh, I'm Cole Villena, reporting.
Most people have heard of handball, but not many know how it actually works. Turns out it's pretty simple.
If you're familiar with water polo, just do that without water. If you're familiar with soccer, just bring everything above the waist. It is a combination of soccer and rugby and hockey and basketball.
The UNC men's handball team has been around since 1989, and in that span has had plenty of success with the unusual sport.
We've won, I think, 3 national championships as Carolina team handball in general, and 3 years ago we came in 3rd overall at the nationals.
The club currently has 20 players on the roster, and all of them come from different sporting backgrounds. The sport doesn't favor one build over the other, and that allows for nearly anyone to play.
So this team is really, it's an awesomely diverse group. We have a lot of differences in size, playing abilities, and such.
Their diversity stems from a more relaxed club environment, and that could contribute to their success.
The reason we don't do any cuts for our sport is because it takes a long time to learn the game. And so, you know, you don't want to just have someone show up and they don't know how to play and cut them instantly. So it's, you know, everyone is really relaxed about knowing the rules. You know, it's very teaching.
With that teaching, the club has remained in the top 10 in the country every year it's competed. And with tournament season right around the corner, this group plans to keep it that way.
So I look for us to definitely improve on our college national standing and really be, you know, kind of return to our high point as one of the better teams in the country.
And if they can do that, there may be another banner to hang here soon. I'm Blake Morgan reporting.
Chalka is a Bollywood fusion group. So what exactly is that?
So we have like a film industry in India which is Bollywood, kind of like Hollywood. And so we like primarily dance to like those songs like that are in like that industry.
Think large, upbeat, perfectly synchronized numbers. Like this one the group performed during halftime of the football game against Virginia.
At least this year in our set we have like classic Bollywood fusion, we have Indian classical, we have contemporary, hip-hop, Latin fusion, and Bhangra.
Classical is an ancient, disciplined, religiously based style. Bhangra is a high-energy folk dance with big movements, while contemporary is more free-flowing and emotional.
There's a lot of intricate footwork, there's a lot of hand movement, there's also like facial expressions.
In the fall, the group does local and on-campus shows and practices their themed set for competition season in the spring.
A lot of times our themes revolve like around a love story. So there's usually like a guy and a girl lead, sometimes like a best friend.
This year's theme is still a secret, but I'm putting my money on a classic Bollywood romance. I'm Colleen Brown reporting.
Lots of Carolina fans know Turner Walston from his in-game announcing and his long tenure at Go Heels. After recently leaving Go Heels, he created ArgyleReport.com.
When I was working for Go Heels, I would tell stories about men's tennis, lacrosse, soccer, rowing, and I thought, well, who's going to do that now? So we've made this place at Argyle Report so that give myself a place to tell stories, but also students who are looking for writing experience and want to cover Carolina athletics, a place to do that.
Although Argyle Report gives in-depth analysis of sports like basketball, Turner wants the focus to be on highlighting the sports that fans and analysts don't talk about enough.
I feel like it's important to give breathing room to a story about Haley Carter, for example. I wrote a story about Haley Carter in the spring because I said she is one of the best tennis players ever to come through Chapel Hill. And the name of the column was See Haley Play. And it wasn't just a play on Dick and Jane, but also please come see Haley play, because one day she's going to get honored on the field at Keenan Stadium or at the Smith Center, and you're going to want to say that you saw her play.
Creating a space for quality material that's relatable to Tar Heel graduates and fans alike is the Argyle Report mission, and Turner wants Carolina fans to come along for the ride.
I grew up a fan, and I used to think it was great if I got to go to one ACC basketball game a year, and now I get to go to as many as I want to, and it's fun. But I want to bring fans along for the ride, recognizing that I'm in a position of privilege. Come with me as best as you can.
Argyle Report already has a few thousand followers, and Walston is hoping for a few thousand more. In Chapel Hill, I'm Trent Brown reporting.
Quinn and Kirk's podcast, titled Heels on Wheels, isn't recorded in some fancy high-end recording studio, but instead in Kirk's dad's old car.
It's my 2008 Subaru Impreza. Her name is Sharon. She's wonderful. She's not the nicest car, but I think it speaks to like kind of us as a podcast, you know, like we're making do with what we have.
While the two seem to mesh really well on the podcast, because Quinn is a Boston sports fan and Kirk is a New York sports fan, the two didn't get along at first.
We were talking Jets-Pats, and I just hated him so much. Like, we had this like really, really angry discussion where I was just like, I hate the Patriots, and he's like, I don't really care about the Jets. I like don't care about you, and it was like really demeaning. I didn't like him. I really didn't like him. But I think we've come to realize our differences, and we definitely get along now.
They start every episode with a fake advertisement they use to make fun of something on campus.
This episode of Heels on Wheels is brought to you by old people at Carolina basketball games. Do you think sports events these days are just way too loud? Do you think students should be relegated to the upper deck where they can barely see and nobody can hear them? Then you'll love old people at Carolina basketball games.
So we just started writing, satirical ads to make fun of stuff around campus, and I don't know, we just kind of had fun with it and run with it.
Having released 9 podcasts, Quinn and Kirk has some bigger plans for the future.
Getting actual people into the car is going to be a great segment. We've reached out to a good amount of athletes. I just think it'd be a hilarious segment to have a guy sitting in the back of a car with us, like a 6'7" forward sitting in the back of his Super Impreza.
That would be quite the sight to see. I'm Luke Buxton, reporting.